Let's chat about people pleasing and how to stop. To stop feeling the shame, the guilt, or jumping over to the other extreme. So if this is you and you are ready to learn how to assert boundaries in a kind and compassionate way without feeling all the other things that come with that, this session's for you. So let's get into it. If you are a people pleaser, then you know what it's like to assert a boundary and then feel pain, shame, guilt, and that boundary not being stuck to by other people. And the feelings that you get that are associated with this can have long-term effects for you. The playback in your head, the feelings that you have, the emotional roller coaster that you go on that you then need to deal with. The thing that you need to learn, which we'll go through in this video, is that when we say no, that is the extent. You don't need to over explain. That you can say no kindly and with compassion. But it's the energy, it's the way in which you actually deliver this message that makes the difference. And so what we're going to go into is all the different layers of people pleasing and how you can start to identify what exactly it is that you do, and therefore put a plan in place to be able to stop all of the things that you are doing to make you feel that when you speak, you are heard. So people pleasing is not about being nice. You have learnt somewhere along this journey that keeping other people's peace is easier and safer than your own. People pleasing is chronic self-abandonment. So sit with this. Where have you learnt this? Why are you the way that you are? Why have you used this strategy? And that's what people pleasing is. It's a strategy. Is it an effective strategy? Yes, most of the time it is an effective strategy to everybody else until they start pushing your boundaries even more, until you start feeling that you can't do it anymore, because we all reach a cap of what we can take. And when we reach this cap, we start to look at how other people's emotions, why are we the ones that are actually managing other people's emotions? Why are we the ones that are always there for other people, but when you ask for them to be there for us, they're not able to do this? Why is it that we're always being taken advantage of? And these are the feelings that you have. But then on the flip side of that is when you assert a boundary, you can't hold to it. Other people take advantage and they keep pushing on this boundary and they wear you down. And then we get to, I feel guilty, I feel shame, I feel like I should be doing all of these things. And those feelings are very real feelings that we have. And it is part of the people pleaser journey. These are things that we just need to be aware of. And as we become aware of it, we start to put them into place of how can we manage them? Because awareness of what you're doing is the first step. So let's become aware. You have learnt that being adaptable, being attuned, helpful, and understanding is qualities that other people like. And guess what? Though using those things has worked. It's worked up until this point. And you need to actually own that, because that's part of the journey as well. But the thing that people don't talk about is what once protected you. These things that protected you, they cost you deeply. Your truth, your energy, your value, your self-worth, your time, and your identity. And they are major sacrifices that you have given over as a way to adapt? Are you ready to claim them back? Because I'm going to show you how. Stopping people pleasing is hard. So the first thing you need to realize is you are not weak. That's not why you haven't stopped people pleasing. So own that. Just take a moment and take it in. It is hard because you have trained your nervous system to believe that when I say no, I am unsafe. And you have an emotional response to this that is real. The fear, freeze, and flight response is activated when you say no. So in order to retrain that, you need to understand that it is a process. That in order, you can't just go from a people pleaser to not a people pleaser. It is a process that you need to go through, and it all comes from conscious awareness and choice. And once you understand this, that's when you can start changing the way in which you respond, and that means the way in which you think and how your actions and thoughts are directly related. And so that's what we're going to work on throughout this video. So what does people pleasing actually look like? That you might be doing things and not even realizing that you're doing it. Because a lot of the time, people pleasing isn't even obvious. So I'm going to give you some statements, and I want you to think, yeah, that's one I use all the time. So, I don't mind. It's fine. Whatever you want. These are go-to statements, and I know for myself, I use them all the time. But when you say something like, I don't mind, the opposite of that maybe you don't even realize, but you do. I don't mind, but you do. It's fine, but it isn't. Whatever you want. Well, resentment builds, because we know over time when you bottle up what it is that you actually are feeling, resentment builds and you explode. So what have you learnt? That when you say no, you experience rejection. People might take their love away. When you say no, they might just take it away. I want you to think about how you grew up and where you've learnt this from. You might have experienced when you said no that there was conflict. And when you say no, that you were misunderstood. So where along this have you learnt this? Because that is going to be the point in which all of these behaviors were actually ingrained in what you were doing and what you've learnt. And so once you understand this, then you get to go, well, that's not the way I'm going to continue going. So when you go to set a boundary, I want you to think about what comes up. What are the feelings? Do you feel anxious? Do you feel scared? Do you feel guilt or tightness anywhere in your body? Or do you have the urge to explain? Now, I know for myself, I have had to work through every single one of them. And the urge to over-explain, that's usually one that comes towards the end. Because when it can be more challenging not to explain than it is to regulate your nervous system. So now I want you to sit and I want you to write down all of the things that you experience. And then I want you to write 1 through however many things that you come up with of what you think is the most important thing to tackle as first. So how do you begin to reclaim your truth? This is where people think that they need to become harder. That is actually not the case. You need to become more honest. And so the first step is your internal honesty. So before you go and worry about what you should be telling other people, you need to stop and think, what is actually true for me right now? What do I need? Not what should be true, not what would be easier, but what is right for you. What do you feel is right for you? And when we stop and then we take it internal and we process what's right for us, then we make an informed decision. And once we make this decision, then you say to yourself, it's okay if I disappoint other people, because my priority is not to disappoint myself. I am the only person that matters, and how I feel is more important than how my partner feels, my friend feels, my mother, my father, whoever it is that you're asserting this boundary with. And when we have this internal dialogue, that's where our neural pathways start changing. It will feel extremely uncomfortable. You will feel your heart race. You will feel as though your body is really getting into fight, flight, or freeze mode. You will have an emotional response. It will be scary. It will be overwhelming. That is necessary. So part of this is, remember what I said at the start, our nervous system is calibrated to, when you say no, to put you into a nervous system response. So in order to change that, you need to go through the process of recognizing that that's what's happening. So every time you say no and you make that decision, what feels right for me, and then you feel the heart race and the scared and the fear and everything that comes in, breathe into it and say, I am doing this for me. Disappointment does not mean danger. It means growth. So every time you do this and you go through this process, reinforce that with the positive message. I am growing. I am aligning to the person that can say no without a response. Because guess what? Majority of people can say no and not fear it. That's normal. I know it's not normal for us, but as somebody that's been through this process, and I know how scary it is, you want to reinforce it with positivity and aligning with the version of you that you know that you're meant to be. Maybe you need to say, I can say no and still be a kind person. Whatever your go-to statement is, that's what we want you to reinforce every time you go through this process. So I want you to start with the soft no's. You don't need to be confrontational. You don't need to be argumentative. You can purely say no, but in a softer way. So how can we say that? No, so it's softer? I need to think about that. Can you just give me a moment? I'll have to get back to you. That doesn't feel right for me right now. I'm not available for that. I'll need to pass on that this time. See how there was no justification and there was no emotional response in the way that I actually delivered those messages. They were very neutral. That's what you need to be doing, because when you change it to, that's not right for me right now, the delivery is completely different and people will misinterpret that. So you want to say it as neutral, as without emotion as you can. Now you might be feeling that, and this is going to take practice, because I know for myself, when I used to say, I can't do that right now, the stress that I was feeling was because of saying no, and people misinterpreted that as there was something wrong with me. So take it from me, you should be delivering this message as neutrally as you can. Practice in the mirror. Stand in front of the mirror and say these things and feel into your body how scared you are, and just own it. I'm practicing. That's not right for me right now. Say it as neutral as you can and look at yourself, because this is the version of you that you're bringing in. So you can say it and practice. Mirror practice is one of the greatest strategies that you can use. So you might initially feel really manic. You might feel a lot of panic and scared and frightened. That doesn't mean that this isn't working. That just means that you're doing something new. So it's time to step into the fear. It's time to step into the new, because this is how we grow. And on the flip side of this is you just saying no with no emotional response. You've got this. Go practice and let me know how you go.